Flying industry in parts of Atlantic Canada, but a price crash in 2014 took a huge toll, and 6 years later, the sector is in worse shape than ever. Now, a CBC News analysis is shedding light on how much public money has been spent, often unsuccessfully, trying to keep the industry afloat. Richard Cuthbertson reports.
And nobody could see it coming that it would drop so quick, but that's the reality.
For mink farmers like Peter Peters, contemplating in early March his 50-year career in the industry, it's been a long, hard fall from 2013 when mink pelts were going for an astonishing $100 a piece. The boom had been fueled by demand for mink fur from the Asian luxury fashion industry, but the market became awash in pelts. In 2014, prices collapsed, and it's carried on. Last year was the worst in at least 3 decades.
Those are the mink barns that we used to have mink in.
Peters has closed the operation near his home. At 72, it was time to slow down. He still owns one in New Brunswick, throwing, he admits, good money after bad. The industry has employed several thousand people in Atlantic Canada. Many of those jobs are now gone. Dozens of farms have liquidated or gone bankrupt. But there's one other aspect to the collapse of this industry: the public money that's gone with it. In Canada, upwards of $100 million has been spent on disaster relief subsidies or has been lost through government loan write-offs, according to a CBC analysis. In Nova Scotia, the leading producer in the country, it's as much as $85 million in federal and provincial aid, much of it through a joint program called Agri-Stability that helps farmers facing large income declines.
Whether it was a good investment or not, that's history will tell us.
That acknowledgement aside, Nova Scotia Agriculture Minister Keith Caldwell is a supporter of the industry, noting that during good times, mink farming brought in tens of millions of dollars of foreign money a year to rural communities. In Nova Scotia, mink pelts were the province's largest agricultural export. But there are some eyebrow-raising cases that followed the price collapse. One farm that received more than $4 million in aid is going through insolvency proceedings for a second time. In another case, Agri-Stability was used to pay a Toronto lender owed money from a failed mink operation. But perhaps the strangest of all is Silver Heel Fur Farm in Western PEI. In 2017, its owner claimed to have killed his last 20,000 mink. The pelts, he said, were ruined in the rush, so he grinded them up and flushed the lot into the Gulf of St. Lawrence. Accountants later brought in during bankruptcy proceedings were dubious and suspected the pelts had in fact been shipped off island and away from creditors. In all, the mink operation had taken with it at least $8 million in bailouts and PEI government loans. The aid payments to the industry have tapered off in recent years, but they haven't saved it. For those farms that have survived, there is hope the global glut of pelts has ended.
The industry's got a great future in the province, but we're working with them now to improve their productivity, quality, and all the other things that need to be done for marketing.
An industry stronger, perhaps, but much smaller. Richard Cuthbertson, CBC News, Howe Bay, PEI.